Adobe Acrobat Studio, so brand new. Show me all the things PDFs can do. Do your work with ease and speed. PDF Spaces is all you need. Do hours of research in an instant with key insights from an AI assistant. Pick a template with a click. Now your prezzo looks super slick. Close that deal? Yeah, you won. Do that, doing that, did that, done. Now you can do that with Acrobat. Now you can do that with the all-new Acrobat. It's time to do your best work with the all-new Adobe Acrobat Studio.
Welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Powercast. We're calling this Nintendo Game Chat. I'm your host, N64 Josh. Hope you guys are having an amazing Tuesday. We got some stuff to talk about. It's been a doozy of a day. Pokopia, I think, is where we're going to spend the majority of our conversation. Talking about game key cards and all that stuff. Before we jump into it, I want to remind everybody that I just got the Stream Deck Mini that is a partnership between Elgato and Discord. And if you want to check one of these out, you can go to n64josh.com/Elgato. Look for the Stream Deck, the Discord Stream Deck Mini, and then you're going to be on a bit of a hunt, okay? Because I don't think they're selling them on their site. I think you got to find them at like local retailers and stuff. So n64josh.com/Elgato if you want to get more details on this thing. If you end up picking up something on the site, though, remember to use code N64Josh. Okay, well, the internet erupted today, just absolutely erupted because of Pokopia. So, yeah. Joey coming in hot saying, "Yeah, I don't like Donkey Kong Country 2 is not a 78th Nintendo game." What are we talking about here? What are we what are we talking about? Joey's just immediately coming in talking about Donkey Kong. What's going on, Joey? Talk me through it. Walk me through it here. What's happening? I think you may be referring to IGN's top 100 games. Maybe that's what we're talking about. So, we'll have to wait and see. I'm very, very curious on this one. Nadine says, "All right, class, let's get negative." You know what? We're gonna keep it positive. We're gonna keep it positive because I do think there's some silver lining, if you will. Okay, and I think there's some good stuff with this game. And I'm hoping that the price is kind of a hint that is the case. So Pokopia, when I first saw it, and I think a lot of us saw it, we were kind of thinking like a mobile game. Is it free to play? I was on the camp that I'm like, okay, this is probably like a $40 game, but it's a full retail release. Okay, cool. That potentially means they believe in this thing, and they think it's gonna be worth that price. It's scary with when you have a brand like Nintendo and Pokemon. They can flex those brand muscles so much that they're gonna flex them until they can't, right? Like that's always what ends up happening. What was strange is they gave the release date of March 5th. Then they put out a key card trailer on what game key cards are. And this is the game they chose to show with that. And a lot of people are confused because they thought it was supposed to be all first-party games were going to be physical, like an actual physical game, not the game key card. And I have a Nintendo Life article open just because I wanted to get a little more info on everything that's here. And so the game is 10 gigs. So it's not huge. It's not huge. And here's a little paragraph from the article. It says, so what does this mean? Is this the start of something more? We can't be sure yet. Nintendo has previously gone on record to state that it wouldn't use the medium for Nintendo developed titles, but that's the thing. This isn't a Nintendo developed title. It's Omega Force, Koei Temco. But then if that's the case, why didn't the Koei Temco developed Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment also receive a game keycard release? What it means for me right off the bat is that I get this game digitally. That's what I see. I personally don't see the point of the game keycards. I don't need it's almost like a code on the shelf, like a code in the book, just so that I can put something on the shelf, but there's nothing or a code in the case, but then there's, I can put it on the shelf, but what's the point? Right? So I want to grab some chats here. Joey says Pokopia looks fun and unique, but not $70, like 30 to 40. I was going to get it, not now. So that's already a done deal for Joey. At that point, I may as well jump into Animal Crossing. Well, my hope is that this game, like we're gonna be coming off of Animal Crossing as far as like in the like cozy games go. We'll have it for about 2 months, and then this game comes out, and then we have another cozy game. And I mean, something that's like a mix of Minecraft, Pokemon, and Animal Crossing. That's my cup of tea, right? Like I'm here for it. So I'm looking forward to this one. But now I want to know more. I immediately wanted to go back and watch the trailer for it again and to see if I was missing something. What's the long tail? I've mentioned it a few different times throughout the day on different shows. Like, is this a game that you can like finish up and then come back to? I don't know. Gats OG says the whole point of having a physical game is that you can still play it once the shop gets taken down. Now they're subverting that entirely. Okay. So I will push back on this. You can still download your digital games on your Wii. Those shops you cannot purchase from, but any of your digital goods can still be downloaded. Anything that you purchase digitally on the Wii can still be downloaded. So it's not like you've lost all of your digital purchases. At some point, they may shut those down. I completely get that. I understand at some point. But as of right now, you could fire up your Wii and re-download the digital games that you purchased. So they are not like at least they're doing that, which I think is a good thing. So Nadine says it's too dang much. Pokopia, Tamagotchi, meh. I hear you. I know it's not your cup of tea at all. Let's see. Joey Pitt says digital or physical doesn't matter to me like it does to others. I usually only get physical if it's on sale. I got you. Well, here's the thing. I have a feeling the key cards are going to be the things that go on sale the most and the fastest because retailers are going to want to just get them out of their, get the stock moved, True 64-bit says, hello, just popping in. But my opinion on game key cards is I don't think they should do it. But I mean, I think it's still over digital. I love game cases. It's a downloadable game with a case. Yeah. The reason I'm not for it, and I have one, I bought one just so I had one. I bought Bravely Default. If I lose that cart, it's gone. It's gone. The game is gone. It's downloaded on my system, but I can't. And it's no different than if you lose your physical game too, right? I mean, it's no, if you lose your physical game, it's also gone. If I'm going to spend the money and I'm going to take up the hard drive space or the SD card space, I might as well just get it digitally. Nintendo gave us the ability to to share the games in the family plan. So the majority of the people in that I would be in contact with can access the games digitally without having to come get the key card that they could then potentially lose also. And so it's, to me, it's just heading towards that digital future. I know some people are super, super against it. And I think it's great to have conversation about this. Like I am a physical collector, I've got the Hyrule Warriors right here in front of me. Like I've got my amiibo right here. Like I collect, look behind me. Like I love Nintendo stuff. I love having physical games. I have a huge Switch 1 collection. Huge. But it's business, and we're on the way to the digital future. What do I think about this game being on a key card, even though it's like a Pokemon game? I don't know. Not a huge fan, I don't think. Not a huge fan. But all it does is just make my decision for me that I will go, okay, I'm getting it digitally. Gat says, I recall PS3 being taken down a while ago, so I assumed Nintendo would eventually do the same. I don't think you're wrong. I think everybody assumes at some point they're all going to get taken down. But as of right now, you can download DSi, Wii, 3DS, and Wii U games from those servers if you have them. So they're still up. You just can't purchase anything new or play anything online on those systems, but you can still get the games you purchased. Joey says it only hurts Nintendo if they shut it down to the consumer. Yeah. And what they need to do, and I feel like we're working towards it kind of, they need to bring all those purchases to the Switch. At the end of the day, everything that we have purchased in their storefronts should be brought to the current console. They should be working, in my opinion, to where we can access our old libraries that are digital and have everything on our Switch. That to me would probably make a lot of people very a little less concerned about their digital purchases. On the flip side of digital purchases, I've mentioned this on here before. I've bought the movie The Crow 3 times. I bought it I usually use Fandango at home or Vudu or whatever. Bought it there. Disappeared. Bought a 4-pack of Blu-rays at one point that also had the digital codes. Put that in again. Disappeared at some point. I'm like, okay, what is going on? So I bought it again. So I don't know if stuff's happening with the license. I don't know. I'm not sure. So there is the ease of use of digital, but then there's also the going and putting your disc in, getting the best possible picture, the best possible sound, like when we're talking movies, right? Versus streaming it. So it's definitely not a black and white conversation, right? It's just not. Nady Nay says, with physical, I haven't needed a dumb express card storage saver. That's true. You're not wrong. I heard people talking about the size of Hyrule Warriors being 40 gigs. And that's a lot of space. It is a lot of space. Nate says it's still nice to be able to lend a game to someone, even mail it to my brother without having to be local stuff. Yeah, it's kind of whack that you can't just send a game. it would be nice if they were in your, I was under the assumption, though I tested this, that if you were in the same family plan, once you traded games, they would essentially have access to that library of digital games, like your key cards. But it's not the case. You have to be next to them every time and then send the digital game over. And I get it, because, you know, there'd be the games being shared all over the place, but at the same time, only one person can use it at a time. So it's not like you're supplying the game to 8 people and then Nintendo's losing out on 7 sales. That isn't the case. So, but I also don't know what goes into all that to make it a reality and to make it happen. So TrueBits or True 64-bit said, you do have a good point. I just love physical collection, even if it has to be downloadable. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, how many people collect Xbox and PlayStation that literally have the game on their shelf and it's nothing more than a key card? The disc is just a key card. So if you like that shelf, this is gonna, you know, scratch that itch. And especially if you're in a situation where you're not really trading your stuff, or nobody, you know, if you don't have kids that may come and take the physical card, like when my boys were old enough to not have to use a booster seat anymore, I shook that booster seat, and these booster seats had like cup holders that would pull out and then go back in. And I could hear stuff rattling in there. And I'm like, I know they're DS games. So I ended up taking like a hammer and a Sawzall and cutting into this thing. Call of Duty 4 on DS and Diddy Kong Racing. And I believe Transformers was the other one that was inside of their booster seat. So kids will lose stuff. They will lose stuff. They can't lose something digital. So it's a bit of that's a benefit, if you will. But it really just depends on everybody's situation. I think everybody's situation is going to be different. Let me see here. Gat says, yeah, movies get taken off. Yep. Digital purchases. Joey says, how many times have you bought the original Mario Brothers? I don't want to talk about it. Wii U, 3DS. That's just digitally, right? Then if you're going to talk about like, how many times did I buy it physically? I mean, on my NES when I got it as a kid, Mario All-Stars on the Wii, you know, like, and I'd already purchased it on the Wii. So now I'm purchasing it. I mean, yeah, that game has made them money hand over fist. So it's just crazy. Mitch says we must rage about the game keycard situation. Get the pitchforks out. Joey says I would take 90% of the consumers. It would take 90% of the consumers to work together to change key cards. Yeah, and I don't think there's enough people, like the internet. You got your vocal minority. I don't know that people care all that much, or that people even know. You know, it's why Nintendo's making videos letting them know that, hey, you still have to download your games if you get one of these. Nate says, I totally get the outrage and I get the whatever. I'm never happy about options being taken away. Yeah. That's real. That is real. Antoine says, I always went physical, even though digital is an option. I just prefer to have the physical copy of the game. It feels more like I own the game since I purchased it. I get it. I got to the point where I was double dipping on stuff because I'm like, look, I'm always going to play Mario Kart. I'm always going to play Smash. I'm always going to play Animal Crossing. So I started getting some games digitally just for the ease of use, because I'm like, I'm always going to be these are always going to be getting changed out. Games that I'm going to, like, you know, play through one time or not play all that much or whatever the case, that made more sense for physical. But stuff that I was playing all the time, I'm like, and it's just ease of use. That's it. And sometimes I have games like in my case. Sometimes I have games on the shelf. Sometimes it's just all over the place. So Digital does make it much, much easier. But I know it's not for everybody. And I think there's even something about the ceremony of taking a game out and putting a game back in. Like, did we really think we were going to be going back to cartridges with the Switch? I think everybody assumed the next system after the Wii U would be disc based. And here we are. We're still dealing with these little carts. And believe me, I'm here for it, because I thought the Switch could potentially be the last system that we used anything physical on. So I'm glad we're still getting something. Joey says, the end of the day, digital key card, as long as I can play my game. There you go. Mitch says it's a card that doesn't even have the game on it. Legit worst thing ever for games. And and I understand where people are coming from with that. Like, I'm not gonna tell anybody you shouldn't feel that way. Like, there are benefits to it. Like, I was talking, you guys, if you listen to the Pokecast I did with Nico today, I don't have it up yet, but it'll probably be up tomorrow. For him, he's like, I can buy Madden on the key card, and then I can trade it in every year and put that money towards the next one, or, trade it in 6 months down the road, whatever. So it does have some value there, but I don't buy anything to trade it in. I buy everything to keep forever. I've traded in things that I've had huge regrets about. I had a huge Xbox 360 library, probably 200 games, and I traded them all in, and I regret it. Regret it to this day. Like, wish I had not done that. Wish I'd kept all that stuff. Nate says, what I do if it's what do I do if I'm just done with gaming? Sell my account now instead of selling the setup and games? Also a good point. And potentially, yes. Just make sure you get your card off of there and everything, right? Get all your personal info off of there. So Joey talking to Mitch about Sony. Yeah, Sony and Xbox have been doing it forever. What annoyed me with like Sony and Xbox is it didn't matter if the game was on the disc, you still had to download it to your hard drive. It couldn't play off of the disc. That also bugged me too, that I'm like, if I have to download this, why am I paying for the disc? If it's not a special edition, if it's not something that's limited. That being said, there's some games I have on my Xbox One that I'm glad I bought. Deadpool, can't find that game. That was one that the licensing deal, once it was up, that game was pulled off shelves. So I'm glad I have it in my collection. More conversation about the key cards. Oh yeah. Joey says, now if they let me buy NSO games to be put on a card, like let me buy Donkey Kong Country and put it on a physical Switch, of course. I would expect nothing less. Gat says, I often buy Nintendo games because they tend to retain value, and I don't know if that will still be the case. Yeah. These are all valid points. Even Mitch saying that paying for my own money and having to buy a game card so that I can have access to the actual game. There's at the end of the day, I wish they weren't a thing. I also know they're not going anywhere, so it doesn't really do any good to get super hyped about it, because the only way things are going to change is if literally nobody bought a game key card ever and then didn't buy the game digitally. But it's just not going to be the case. Your normie consumer walks into a game store, walks into a retail, and goes, "Oh yeah, I want that." And guys, we know Nintendo is definitely leaning towards digital. They literally put out a store app on the phone that you can buy your games anywhere you want and have them sent to your Switch. So, like, there's more, like, there's less overhead when it comes to digital. And I think we've already seen some statistics that like digital is already moving ahead of where it was on Switch 1. And I think some of that is due to these key cards potentially, right? Like I wasn't going to buy Street Fighter physically. There was no reason to. It's going to be on my hard drive anyway. In my mind, I wasn't going to trade it in. So, Gat says this isn't just Nintendo, by the way. Monster Hunter Wilds only had like 7 gigs worth of data on the disc. Yeah. Nate says, I just don't see the difference. It's not like games got cheaper when they went digital without a cart, and shipping costs, store stocking costs. It's quite silly. It is. I think the reason behind it is if you start selling your games cheaper digitally and still have them in retail is going to be like, what do you like? What, you can't undercut us. We're not going to put you in the store. We're not going to give you the shelf space if you're undercutting us on your digital shop. And so I think that's why we don't see those savings, because I remember for the longest time expecting, once these games start to go more digital, we should see price cuts, right? Because less overhead. But until they leave retail, and let's be honest, I mean, Nintendo's discounting their old games right now, $20. $20. A few of them they're discounting $30. A few of them. I think most Nintendo fans assume that we would be in the Player's Choice or the Nintendo Select era, and we're not. They just get to have these Black Friday sales periodically. You do get to save $20 on a 256 gig express key card if that's something you're looking for. So I was in GameStop today, and I was looking at the Street Fighter amiibo cards, and I didn't know they sold booster packs of those on top of the whole pack. But the article I read today or did on the show earlier, those are going on sale. They're $10 off. So I just said, I'll be back for Black Friday and save some money. He's like, oh, I didn't even know they were going to be on sale. I'm like, well, they are. He's like, cool. Maybe I'll pick some up then too. So, I'm just holding out. I'm holding out for those. So taking a look here. Nate says, I need to remove all my, okay. All right. Joey says, I wonder if the Switch 2 Lite will even have a cart slot. For sure. Yeah. 100% it will. There's still too many physical games out there. They're pushing the physical and the game key cards too much. So, yeah, and this is exactly Nate said, plus the youngins don't really care at all how they get their content. Nope. They're used to everything being at their fingertips. See, they're not like us. They've grown up completely different. I used to have to run from the school bus to get to the TV in time so that I could watch Transformers without missing anything. They can just start it over and then watch the next episode right after. That, like, if you tried to explain that to like 8-year-old Josh, he would be like, what are you talking about? And we know too, Fortnite is making bank selling digital skins. The younger generations do not care about physical. They want ease of use. They've grown up with phones. They've grown up on the internet. And if they do have a physical, it is what it is. Like, oh, I got, whether it's a physical game, digital game, they don't care. They just want to play. They just want to play. So that's a great point, Nate. Only part of physical I miss is renting it like Blockbuster. Yes. Yeah. The good old days. The good old days. Joey said nothing like running into a bathroom during a commercial and hear the siblings yell, it's back. Yo, exactly that. exactly that. There was no pausing the TV, right? I mean, how many of you guys remember TiVo? Remember that was like you basically had your first DVR where you could record TV, and that was a big deal. That was a big deal. It's so wild. Nate says all the restrictions around Switch 2 kind of bug me a little. Third-party docks bricking consoles with updated firmware. Interesting. I saw some of that. I saw some of those, like some tweets about that today, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I know some people were testing different ones that were still, still good, still working, but it's Nintendo's in a like, and part of me wonders if that isn't because they're trying to protect IP. And I don't want to come across like corporate speak. That's not my intention. I legitimately wonder if they're looking at anything that could potentially like leak their games. Like that's one of their top priorities with the Switch 2 is keeping things secure. And so because I'm not in any kind of modding communities, I don't get into that kind of stuff. None of it. It doesn't affect me. Like, I also don't trust third-party docks at all. So you wouldn't see me putting my Switch anywhere near one. Like, it's just not. I don't trust it. I don't trust it. So Joey with the $2 super chat says, try telling kids Netflix started by mail. Yes. That one time I remodeled somebody's house and I had to move their entertainment center. Behind their entertainment center was every one of the little sticker covers for the Netflix envelope. Just all of them were thrown behind their TV. It was just a mountain of those stickers. Just an absolute mountain. Just crazy. So Camp N64 says, this is just a thought, but what if we went all the way back to the beginning, the NES, and we could buy physical or digital? How long would physical have lasted? That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, look how quickly music went from physical to digital and then back to record. And I wonder if games are going to have a similar thing where it's like companies like Retron 5 and whatnot, like they team up with companies like Limited Run. And then we start seeing like, a revival of physical games media, but maybe not in the way that we expect. And I mean, we're years away from like a system that could play Switch games legally anyway. We're years. So yeah, I mean, the way that they got me with movies is they put the digital in with the physical. If I bought a physical movie, I got the digital, and then I started building that library, and I enjoy building that library. I still enjoy building that library. If I see a $5 movie or something cheap, I'm like, yeah, throw it in. Like, throw it in. Easy. Literally like 2 nights ago, Jasmine saw like Muppet Treasure Island. She's like, what? That's like one of my favorites. $5. Yeah, throw it in the library. So I don't know that outside of like the generation that really loves that grew up with the NES, the SNES, the 6. I'd be very curious about the age group that really cares about physical media, which I'm assuming is going to be probably between like 38 and 50, give or take, like that 12, 35 to 50, maybe 15 years. Maybe it's a little bit more. So, let's see here. Nate says, have to be careful in the used market now too. Who knows if we're buying dumped games? Yeah, that's a thing for sure. True 64-bit says, as a last year high schooler, I agree with you. I grew up when the Wii came out and it was beautiful. I miss those. Now my cousin's just chilling, getting everything he wants so easily. Well, I mean, and think about what we talk about like, the Switch selling like 150 million, right? And that's crazy. But I want to see, like, yeah. Roblox hit 47.3 million concurrent users. That, and what I find crazy is there's a whole generation of kids that are growing up with these games that look like trash, but they play them like they play these games with imagination. It's like Among Us. And that's where they're not getting anything physical. They're just playing whatever stuff is coming at them from Roblox. And that's crazy. That's crazy. Every time I've turned on Roblox, I'm like, this is so janky. Like, I remember I had to download it for work to use to get B-roll for a job that I had. And I'm like, what is this? But they're having a great time. They're hanging with friends, living in a digital world, and they're having a good time with it. And they're not worried about where their physical games come from or if they're going to have a physical. They don't care. They don't care. If they have a Switch, they're just playing whatever's there. Camp N64 says, I have to say I was very excited to ditch CDs for iTunes, but I also understand that it's not for everyone. Yeah, I remember my little iPod Shuffle and the iPod Nano. I think I had an Apple Watch before they were even a thing. My iPod, I bought a watch strap and case for, so that I could use it as a watch. What a nerd! But I loved that. I loved it. Let's see. I got to be careful what I read from Joey here, talking to Nate. Mitch says, I demand to hear Johnny Bo's opinion on the matter. I can tell you it's whatever opinion will drive you the most crazy. That's what he'll give you. More than likely followed by a request for him to be muted. Bingo. We love Johnny in here. # communication error. I love it. That's great. Joey says physical is all good, but I have a whole collection of VHS tapes and I don't have a VCR player anymore. Yeah. And they look terrible. Like I guess there might be something a bit nostalgic about putting a VHS in and watching it but like my parents at their cabin. Okay. This is going to sound like so goofy. They have a VHS and a DVD side by side, like one of those players. I can't put a VHS in. They've got and then they've got these flat screen TVs, 50-inch flat screen. I cannot put a VHS. My mom can do it. She can watch it. I'm like, I cannot. There's no way. There is no way I'm watching what is it? 480, 480i on I just can't. I cannot do it. But that being said, I have boxes of DVDs because come the time that I own, a cabin or something like that, I'm going to load it up with all of those physical, all that physical media. The one of the best things about going to my parents' cabin was just having to go through the DVDs and pick a DVD to watch. I remember one year I brought a stack of Wii games and like NES games and stuff because it was just so fun playing with the physical media. They don't even know if they have Wi-Fi there. They might now, but so you couldn't do Netflix or anything like that. And that it was like another level of unplugging that was so nice. It was so nice. So Nady Nay with the $2 super chat says, we need to get your shillings vaccine. Here we go. Here we go. Am I shilling? Do I sound maybe I guess I'm not angry. So I probably do sound a bit like a shill. I don't know. Let me know. Let me know. I'll see if I can be better. Be better, Josh. That can be our new hashtag be better, Josh. Camp N64 says I'm what they call an elder millennial. Yeah. I think I'm in the same boat. Not quite old enough to be Gen X. Mitch says, Josh, what is your hype level for Metroid Prime 4? Yo, you guys, on Friday, all of the creators that got invited to the event, Johnny Bo included. Yeah. Him and I are sitting down for a special episode to talk all about it. So my hype levels are high. They're high. I just want this game to do well. I want it to do well. I want people to enjoy it so that we get more. I want more. So I'm very hyped though. Joey says, Josh, do you think we get GTA? Do you think GTA 6 got delayed so that they can get the Switch 2 port to come out day and date? No, they don't. They're gonna sell. They're gonna sell regardless of Switch 2, and they're gonna sell like crazy. And if it's late on Switch 2, you know how people will double dip because I can take GTA on the go. Plus, I have it, in the best possible resolution on my PS5 or my PC. Yeah. No, I just think it's such a huge game that they don't, it takes time. It just takes time. And they're going to take all the time they need, and then they're going to sit on literal stacks of cash. Like, it's going to be insane. It is going to be insane. The amount of marketing teams, it was almost like when like when Alderaan exploded and it was like a million voices cried out at once and then they were all silenced. That's what happened as soon as the release date for GTA 6 hit. It was like the biggest sigh of relief from all the marketing teams for any other games, because they're like, we know what date to avoid. Let's get to work. Where now everybody's been kind of scrambling and wondering where to release their game so that it doesn't get over just in the shadow of GTA 6. What? Joey says, I bet I know what kind of VHS tapes you were putting into watch. Wow. With the eye emoji. Damon RPG says, since third-party games became keycard games, I found it very easy to choose digital. But when first-party games become keycard games, I was confused and felt strange buying digital first-party. Yeah. There's like, I'm not surprised. I'm not all that surprised. I don't like it. I'm not all that surprised. It's not like a deal breaker for me where I won't play the game. The game looks like too much fun not to play. I'm going to play it, of course, to let you guys know. Should you spend your money on this? Should you spend your hard-earned $70 on this game? Third parties were easy choice when it came to key cards. That, yeah, digital. I'm right there with you, Damon. Right there with you. And so there's going to be less and less. And when you look at a game like this, so the word on the street that Pokopia is being, and this is for you, Nate, you can't Pokopia puts we got to put the cope in Pokopia. How about that? Since you had to use the word cope. All right. So, but it's being developed, from my understanding, by the teams that did Dragon Quest Builders 1 and 2. And then you've got Nintendo taking their share, and you've also got Pokemon taking their share, right? So in this situation, to extend margins with the cheaper card, because it is a huge chunk of change. It is a huge chunk of change. Even if they save $10 per physical sale, if they can add that, like, that's big. And then if they're digital sales, they're adding even more. So when they're I assume splitting that like 3 ways, maybe. I don't know how those deals work. If the teams are paid their development price and then that's it, or if they are promised some kind of a royalty after the fact, I'm not sure. But that information, again, like I said at the beginning of the show, also gets me excited because I think it gives me higher hopes for what we could be getting with this game. I don't think it's the mobile game that I thought it was. I think it's going to be more of a full-fledged experience. I'm hopeful. I think we are close to a point where like these companies are going to test how little they can give and still get paid for it, and eventually one of the games is going to bite them. Something will bite them. I hope it's not this one. I hope this one delivers. But I do think there's a real possibility that could happen. The problem with Pokemon, that brand is too powerful. Like it's too big. It's too big. So it would be tough. It would be tough for the game not to sell well. Top 10 Switch 2. I mean, sure. If it comes out in March and there's barely 10 games, barely 10 first party games out, or probably isn't even 10 first party games, it might make the list then. But how long it stays there, we'll have to wait and see. True 64-bit said, "Are you excited for the direct tomorrow?" I'm so stoked. I'm so stoked to sit and record live and then have the video taken down because you can't show any footage on YouTube of the movie. So can't wait. That'll be great. But I'm very, very excited. So, I'm just so excited for this movie. Like I loved the first one, and I can't wait to see where they take it. Also seeing Miyamoto's comments about the movie that like he would continue working on it until it is fun. Like it gives me some it gives me some hope that it's going to be something special. They seem to really be what would be really great with this next one is if it could not only bring the fan service but also bring an incredible story that really brings, more people into the just gets more people into Mario, because the story is just as good as all of the fan service that we're all waiting for. So, Nate says, "Oh man, do I have a story about VHS tapes and my recorded cartoons from TV being recorded over. Thanks for reminding me, guys." Whoops. Somebody unscrambled the one channel and then recorded stuff. That's crazy. That's crazy. George says, "Did they ever announce how much the talking flower is going to be?" I'm curious how much it'll be, like $50. I mean, the way things are going, I'd be surprised if it was much less than that, maybe $39.99. But yeah, I don't think we've seen the price. I don't think it has like a ton of tech in it. It's not like a motion sensor or anything like that, which I don't think those are expensive anymore anyway. So it's, yeah, like I hope it's coming in at the most $39.99, or I mean at the, like, I would love to see it at like $39.99, $49.99. See if it's gonna be pushing it. If it's up there in the 65, like that's gonna be rough. And it's only gonna be rough because I have to get 3 of them. I have 2 littles, at least 3. I got 2 littles in this house that were like, "We're getting those, right? You're gonna get us those." Yes, I'll get you those. So Joey says, "I hope they make a Donkey Kong movie soon, and make it all about finding the lost Kitty Kong. Ha ha ha. I hope Cryptic heard that." That's amazing. If he listens after the fact, you will definitely see it in Discord. Nate sometimes like does me a solid and tells me not to read something because he's about to post something crazy in the chat. That was one of those times. So I'm glad I didn't read that one. I wanted to just briefly touch on this real quick. Reggie Fils-Aimé, you guys, did an interview recently, and he's wondering what's taking Xbox so long to get on board with Switch 2. He seems a bit confused with what's going on there. But then, like, I saw Nate replied to a tweet. Is Gears 5 not doing well on? I think it was Nate. Is Gears 5 not doing well on PlayStation 5? Like, I assumed it would do all right. I think it's like only like $40 or something, right? Like, I thought it would be doing great, especially with, like, you know, there's not a lot coming out over there. So I do hope it gets made on Switch. I would love to be able to play Gears of War on Switch. Are you kidding me? That would be fantastic. It'd be so cool. This is what else he has to say. This is the most surprising thing. This isn't to say that Mr. Fils-Aimé hasn't necessarily been disappointed with the Switch 2 software slate so far, though he admits he's found Nintendo's output a little confusing from a business perspective. When I first saw the lineup, I scratched my head a little bit. Come on, who honestly had Kirby Air Riders on their launch year bingo card? He says, what I underestimated was the Enhance 1 content, which I think has been compelling, he continued. The stuff that you get for free as part of Nintendo Switch Online subscription, I think has helped drive some of the momentum. And then certainly Bonanza was a key driver for them. So it's kind of cool getting to hear his thoughts from an outside perspective, but from being on the inside at one point. I think it's super cool. And it's also kind of cool to see that he's saying some of the same things that we've said, you know, wondering what's taking Xbox so long. And, you know, are these all the right launch game choices that Nintendo is making? So it's just kind of fun to see, you know, to see his perspective and to see that it aligns with some of the stuff we've been saying. Let's see. I just want to make sure I'm not missing any chats. Nope. Okay. I'm not, I'm only missing Nightmare Fuel from poor Nate. So, well, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I was only 10 minutes late tonight. All right. 9:10 Eastern. I'm shooting for 9. I should be on time tomorrow. I'm also doing 9:30 a.m. Eastern, which I know my West Coasters are like, why are you, what's the deal here? But we're doing the news in the morning, and then we're doing these game chats in the evenings. And what it does is it helps me get the content, the long form content out, and then I can focus on the shorts and everything. I do want you guys to do me a solid. If you use Facebook, go follow N64Josh on Facebook and Instagram, all the places, you know. TikTok. I did just put out another TikTok. I'm not allowed to say it in the TikTok video, you guys. But if you are if you're looking for a Switch Pro controller, when I went through the checkout process on TikTok, it was $71.39 for a Pro controller. I was in GameStop today and they were $89. So, like, if you're in the market for one of these things and you want to get it for way cheaper than retailer, almost $20, go over to my TikTok. The latest TikTok I just put out has the link for this thing. So, but you have to make sure you claim your coupons on TikTok. You get coupons like all the time on there. They're just digital coupons. You just got to make sure you apply them. So, Joey says 9 Eastern's just right. 10 is too late. All right. Well, there you go. Well, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for hanging out and for chatting with me. And as always, play it loud.